and there will be 2 questions for each category. It is residential experience, commuter experience, academic affairs, student life, campus safety, and diversity and inclusion. And the order for each question has already been determined as well. It was just randomly drawn. And I now ask that each ticket introduces themselves. If you 2 of you want to come up for each party. Sisters over here.
Okay, I'm Ben Frederick. I'm on CS United and I'm running for treasurer.
All right, I'm Marty Barnard. I'm running for president on CS United.
Dorothy Zhao, I'm running for secretary of CS United. I'm Cassidy Reeser, and I am running for vice president of CS United.
My name is Mohammed Rami, and I'm running for secretary of CSU First.
My name is Pravin Paul, and I'm running as treasurer for CSU First.
My name is Omar Wadan, and I'm running for president for CSU First.
My name is Melissa Priest, and I'm running for vice president for CSU First.
My name is Noel Mohawk, and I'm running for vice president of Better Together.
My name is Erica Betterson. I'm running for student body president with Better Together.
And my name is Danny Mihalcha, and I'm running for secretary on the Better Together ticket.
Thanks, guys.
So we are going to get started now. The first question is in residential experience. And then the order is on the slide. So the first group will be CSU First, and then CS United, and then Better Together. So the first question that you guys are going to be answering is, what is the single biggest challenge residential students face while living on campus? So the order is going to be CSU First, CS United, and then Better Together. Except the top here, and then it will buzz after 2 minutes. Okay. So, CS United.
In my personal opinion, as a residence life person for 3 years, the biggest issue on campus is the dining. Oh wait, it says CS United, is it? CSU First.
Yeah, you can see it from my table, I'm sorry.
Okay.
You can just do that.
Okay. So the biggest issue is dining. So I've been on campus for 3 years, and all of our parties lived on campus at one time or another. And we all agree that dining is a huge issue, because for one thing, we can't use dining dollars off campus. And that would be a big help because a lot of the food is repetitive. Some people have dining issues, such as they have celiac disease, they're vegan, vegetarian, and the dining hall doesn't have a lot of options for these people, so they end up wasting their money and not being able to eat any food. They have longer hours. The places in classroom and the places in the student center, such as the burger place and the sushi place, they close earlier than 3 o'clock and even earlier on Fridays, which means a lot of the people on campus, they don't have any options. They're also not open on the weekend, so people living on campus are stuck with either Chili's or eating in the dining halls. Also, the stores on campus are very overpriced. If you compare a grocery store like Aldi's or Giant Eagle to the prices in the Fen Shop or Outtakes, it's just outrageous how much the prices are marked up. And we have to buy a meal plan, so there's no option to be able to buy our food at these cheaper places. We have to spend our money at the more expensive places. So in my opinion, one of the biggest problems residential students face is the dining options on campus.
Okay, so next will be CSU First. Just bear with us over here.
I personally feel like being a residential student who lives by campus now, and I've lived on campus at Euclid Commons last year, I feel like food, dining, and it's a big problem because we don't have enough options. So I wanted to say that we would be better off if we had better options. And with dining dollars, if we could reach out to businesses around and with businesses around being open to using dining dollars, it would really help students. As well as the safety. When you're a student living on campus, you're either at school or at your dorm and you want to be able to get back and forth without any issue. So being able to get to one place from another without having to worry about what might be there for you to be too scared of and stuff like that would be one of the main things too. And going back to dining, for dining options, with all the dining options that we have on campus, I do feel that it would be nice for them to be open till later, and I feel that with that being open until later, it would help students better adjust to residential life.
So I would tend to agree that dining is a major issue on campus. However, I think that stems from the general issue of finances. I think every college student struggles with managing money and where they can best use their money and what it can be best invested in. So I think there needs to be more programs within the university and even outside the university that help students who are already living on campus or help students who can't live on campus because they can't afford it. And I think that's where a lot of the problems that this university faces stem from, is the fact that we have a large feeder population. We don't have a large population of people that live on or near campus. And I would personally like to spearhead working with either businesses or companies around the Cleveland area to put together programs that help students come on campus, because it enriches the experience of all CSU students, it enriches the city, and it enriches just CSU in general. But I would tend to agree that there needs to be more dining options, they need to be open later, they need to be more affordable, because we're all facing these common struggles, and we need the university to help us get through and we can't fight against it.
Okay, so the next question in residential experience is how could on-campus housing be improved? And we're just going to go in this order.
So, on-campus housing can definitely be improved in a few ways. So, for example, roommate disagreements are handled in a certain way that may not be beneficial to all the parties. For example, one time I had a roommate disagreement, and you had to go through several moderations before anybody could even think about moving out, which is what, also the housing could be made differently. I know that housing is very tight, and sometimes people are denied living on campus, which is a big problem. People are living far away. So it would be really nice if another dorm would be built. Also, single options should be a thing on campus as well. Implementing with what we already have, it would be nice in order to be able to have more visitation hours. You have to have your visitor leave by 2 a.m. or you have to be in by 2 a.m., which is when the bars close, which makes sense. However, if you have a friend who is intoxicated and you have to send them on their way and you can't bring them into the dorm, that's definitely a problem, because what are you going to do? They can't drink and drive. So, and Ubers are expensive, so they should be able to stay in the dorms with you for safety reasons.
Personally, living on campus last year, being in Euclid Commons, something that I saw that would really help improve residence life would be with dining dollars and how the meal plan works for resident students. I know that there's an option for the traditional 18, and it goes up from there. So with the traditional 18, even if you have a kitchen in your residential space, you still have to get meal plan no matter what. I feel like if that was an option that could be eliminated, if you had a kitchen with your dorm, you shouldn't be having to pay for a meal plan that you possibly wouldn't use, because I know myself last year, I would go to the dining hall, not even like 3 times out of the whole week, like three days, not even. And it's just like, it's like money that you're spending as a student that you don't really need to spend. So I feel like it would kind of be one of the biggest issues that I personally, as a student who's lived on campus, feel needs to be improved to get residence life, and as well as roommate decisions and how they're choosing roommates, because I feel like it's not done in the best way, and finding a way to kind of figure out how to properly find roommates for people so that they're not having issues as they're going on throughout school, because that builds up a lot of tension for your educational life if you're not in a good living environment.
Personally, as cliche as it sounds, I think that all of the issues on campus stem from the 3 F's: food, friends, and fun. So I think food's a huge issue when we talk about dining already. But I think there needs to be more availability for dining options provided by the university. And then for those students that don't want to utilize those options, there needs to be better ways for them to cook their own meals. So like we talked about people with dietary issues, if you are struggling with that, you need to have the opportunity to cook things for yourself. When I lived in Penn last year, didn't have a kitchen in my room, and we had the floor kitchen, but it was under-equipped. It didn't really have what I needed to do, and it was difficult to store things that I needed to cook in that kitchen. So I think that really needs to be addressed so that students can deal with that by themselves. Friends, I think that the roommate matching is a huge aspect of your college life. Everybody remembers their college roommates. My parents told me about their college roommates. You don't want a bad college roommate. So I think we need to revolutionize the way that we manage people, and I think we should be throwing events where people can possibly meet roommates, not just orientation or groups like that, but specific events where it's like speed dating where we can meet somebody where we might get along with. Because had I had that, I might have had a different roommate freshman year. I might have had different roommates now. It would have changed the entire course of my college time here. And then fun, I think more organizations need to get involved in the dorms. I think we need organizations going through youth commons and Fun Tower, handing out materials that say, here's this cool thing you can do on campus this week, not just an email, because not every college student checks their email or has their CSU email wired to their normal account. So I think we really need to market that out.
Thank you guys for your comments on residential experience. So the next category is commuter experience, and the order is going to be Better Together, CS United, and CSU First. So if anybody needs to switch out your 2 people that are on stage, feel free. And then while you guys are switching, the first question is going to be, how would you encourage involvement in the commuter student population? So again, the question is, how would you encourage student involvement in the commuter student population? And the order will be Better Together, CS United, and then CSU First. So Better Together.
So I remember my freshman year, I didn't really know how to get involved. And technically I would usually be able to get involved through the major fairs and the organization fairs that they hold at the beginning of each semester. So I think if we have organization fairs weekly or bi-weekly, students would be able to see what organizations on campus are offered. I also think that student government in general could host maybe at the bi-weekly meeting of students just walking in, and we could be able to sit down and talk with them, and be able to share what their interests are, and we could recommend what organization we should join. Because essentially being involved on campus not only helps you grow as a student, but it helps you build your resume and your personal experience and your career.
So a good way to encourage involvement in commuters is to keep them on campus. And how we keep them on campus is through events and stuff like that. We could offer free lunches and all that, bi-weekly and stuff like that. Because as a commuter, most people don't have meal plans or they have to bring their own lunch. So it is very nice if you provide food for them, they will come to events and stuff like that. Also, they need a better commuter lounge. and all that. As of right now, it's being taken over by student organizations and stuff like that. It's ill-equipped, it doesn't have that much to do and all that. No one really wants to be on campus when they don't have class and all that. So one of the big things we have to change is we have to keep them on campus so they're able to attend events and be involved.
Coming into CSU as a student, I never really had a problem finding things to do just because I knew a wide variety of people. I had a lot of friends and family who went here, so coming into CSU, I felt like I fit in right away. However, I spoke to an alumni before coming to CSU, and he almost pushed me away from coming to CSU, and the reason was, he said that coming to CSU was the worst decision he's ever made because he never found anything to do. He would come to school, he felt isolated, which led to his future depression, and he never really felt like he fit in. And as I've experienced through CSU, there's a lot to do, but maybe the timing's off or just the way that it's advertised is off. I think we should reach out to people and we should send out surveys and see what they like and what ideas they want to know, they want to do, and then we can accommodate to their needs.
So the next question in commuter experience is, what do you believe could be done to improve the commuting process to campus? And it'll be the same order: Better Together, CSU United, and CSU First.
Okay, so a major problem I believe as a commuter is being able just to eat. Not finding a good place on campus where you don't like the food, you don't want to spend much on extra snacks or just food options in general. I think if SGA could offer snack bags for commuter students, so either just come in and grab a snack bag from us, we will provide it for you weekly or bi-weekly, as well as hosting an SGA lunch day, so you can come and eat lunch with us, you can come and socialize with us, tell us your issues on campus, so that'll eliminate the problem with food. As well as, I know parking is a huge issue for students, so I believe that although it isn't really within our reach for SGA to really do much about parking, I think being in constant communication with us and to know your needs, we can continue the conversations with the faculty and administrators to encourage more incentives to fix the parking issue that students really have dealt with. Also, the commuter round, as Ben mentioned, the commuter round is really not really, it's solely for organizations right now. You can find another place on campus for the organizations and only for commuter students, making it more comfortable, making it their home away from home, adding microwaves, refrigerators, comfortable seating, whatever it may be, for them to feel more comfortable as a commuter student.
So the first thing we have to discuss is parking and all that. Parking is its own monster, I guess, and all that. First thing is, it is very expensive and all that. No one wants to pay a large sum of money for a parking pass and all that. It is too expensive. And when we go, if you buy a green pass and you go to a garage and all that, the garage may be full. You may not spend all this money for a green pass, and you're not even able to park in the garage. That is very annoying and all that. So one thing we want to do is develop an app for real-time updates of these garages and all that. They do have a Twitter account where I know they post these things, but it is very delayed and not very accurate most of the time and all that. So we want to increase knowledge of what's currently going on in these parking garages and all that. And so our idea is to develop an app and all that. They also don't give out enough passes and all that. Some of my friends have to pay day-to-day parking because they missed the day to buy white passes and all that. And they have to pay a day-to-day parking of $6 just to stay out in a white parking lot when they could just buy a white pass instead. And then parking also gives out so many tickets and all that. Way too many tickets, and everyone knows that and all that. Parking also profits $1.6 million per year. Profits meaning that this is already after they pay all the employees and all that. So they are making $1.6 million from us every single year and all that. That's actually just in 2019 and all that. Another thing we want to discuss is the RTA pass. The RTA pass used to be mailed to people before the semester. Now you have to go to the cashier's office or on the internet to get your RTA pass. If you ride the bus every day, you have to pay to go to school to get your RTA pass that you already paid for. There should be an option to where you can click the box and it should be mailed to you beforehand. So you don't have to pay more money just to get something you already paid for.
Okay, the next topic is academic affairs. So if anybody
I
wants to
didn't
speak.
speak.
What was that?
I didn't speak yet.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh my God.
As many of us know, staying on campus is the second most costly thing after the college tuition itself. So because of that, we have a large commuter population. And commuting itself is also expensive, so a lot of people can't afford to drive here just because of gas and parking, so they have to turn to the RTA. With the RTA, you face a lot of problems. It seems as if there's no way of getting out of these problems, but you may miss class because the RTA is running late, you may miss your bus, you may miss the RTA. So one thing I feel like we need to do is reach a wide population, because some people live on campus, some people travel, some people take the RTA, and we want to accommodate to every single person's needs. We don't want to accommodate to a certain group of people and have everybody else left out. We want to put you first.
Okay, so now the next category is academic affairs. So again, this time the order will be CS United, Better Together, and CSU first. And the first question is going to be, how can the university improve graduation rates?
CSU is going to improve graduation rates when we make improvements to why students want to stay on campus. Is there more to the classroom? What I've seen with a lot of commuters and organizations I'm involved with is they come to class and then they really don't find a lot to do. They end up getting bored, and then they end up going to another class and then going home because they have work. They have to pay for tuition that way. So you need to have more to do on campus to bring people here. If people are only going to be here for the classroom, then they're going to leave, and that's why our retention rate is so high. If you want the graduation rate to increase, you want to keep them here for 4 years. You want to keep some sense of adventure, some sense of engaged learning all 4 years, so you're constantly striving for more goals, more to do. And that way you're more involved, you have, you're able to apply your skills that you're learning in your classroom to things outside of the classroom. And that's going to help you after graduation. So I think people will appreciate that more about our campus if the involved students reach out to those who are in their classes, get them involved, and get them finding some sense of purpose on campus. That's what's going to keep them here for 4 years and then graduate, and then they're going to look back at CSU and be grateful for their experience. So I do think we need to focus more on getting these students involved sooner.
So, being the Director of Academic Affairs for the past year, I have worked on the textbook initiative. So, if we give students free open access to textbooks, then we'll be able to ensure they have a quality education. We will be able to not have to worry about the cost of textbooks and enroll in more courses and make them more successful within the courses and actually learn. Another thing is we would love to partner with the task center on campus. A lot of students this past year have spoken to me about the quality of the tutors in task and a few majors and courses being offered in task. So we would work closely with the deans of each college to ensure the best quality tutors for each students to succeed within their courses, as well as offer just more classes for them to learn.
So looking at retention, why do students leave? We have to look at why do students leave CSU in the first place? Why is it? We can't just attack them with these solutions that we have. We need to look towards why do students actually leave the university. There's a lot of reasons for that. We can look towards it. CSU gets a lot of opportunity and engaged learning, but there's always room for more. If we engage students in the classroom, outside of the classrooms, in regards to student organizations, jobs, internships, co-ops. For one example, I work in the Center of Engineering and Experiential Learning, and a lot of the engineering students end up with internships and co-ops, and that's helping them pay for their university. And in doing so, it's increasing the retention, especially of the engineering college. Because when a student can come to school, then they can go to work after, buy a job that they found through a campus resource, then they're obviously going to stay. Because then they have not only work experience, classroom experience, and then that obviously makes it just a better environment for not only themselves and their peers, whether that be through labs or whatever it may be. There's a lot of opportunities to engage our students here to keep the retention up, whether that be through organizations and getting organizations out through more marketing, or simply just allowing it through the creation of new jobs and the partnering with other local businesses. I mean, if we look at the local businesses we have downtown, we have thousands of opportunities for our students. And that's why I think that CSU First can certainly assist you with retention and be best for the students.
Thank you, guys. And then question 2, still under the academic affairs category, is which CSU resources or partnerships would you plan to bolster in your role on the SGA Executive Board? We're keeping this in order: CSU United, Better Together, and then CSU First. So the question is, which CSU resources or partnerships would you plan to bolster in your role on the SGA Executive Board?
In terms of CSU partnerships, I think you do need to look into internships and what we do have available in the city next to us. Because I come from a film background, and it's very hard to find a lot of things, so your university is helping you, just have to know where to look. What SGA can do is very simple. Just make those resources more available for students. I don't know, maybe include it on our website, make newsletters that include internship opportunities weekly. These resources are there. Sometimes it's hard to go through and sift through all the different newsletters, all the different applications you have to do. But if we made it easier to access these things, I think more students would take up the internship, and more students would be able to apply to things that are available outside of the university. In terms of partnerships, I mean, there's other ways to be involved, such as the engineering Parker Hannafin process that just happened. Last year we just acquired the new Washkowitz College of Engineering. That's a major asset to the university, and with that comes a lot more potential. They just announced the Parker Hannafin donation. There's a lot of different things we can be doing with that. So I think just, again, SGA, what we can do as the executive board, just make these opportunities more available for students. And then I think they'll be using them a lot more frequently.
Great. So a few partnerships we would love to work with are the library, the MLC, the task center, and the deans of each college. So within the library, we would love to continue the open textbook initiative, as I mentioned before, continue the open late night hours, and ensuring that students are studying safely in the library. Within the MLC, we would love to update the outdated look, so just the atmosphere in general, the boards in the MLC, the computer programs, and just the whole atmosphere. We want to give students the best quality experience because a lot of students use the math learning center. Within TASK, we would love to continue to work with them, as I just mentioned before, getting each dean to give us their best students and enabling them an incentive, providing possibly a scholarship for students so they will be able to actually tutor students and ensure a quality experience for them. And within the deans of each college, we would love to provide prizes for everyone on the dean's list. So that'll kind of give an incentive for students to educate themselves each semester and actually want to learn to reach that goal of boosting their GPA, because they would be able to receive a prize if they were on the dean's list.
So, as we all know, there are a lot of programs already available at CSU. One example is career services. I mean, we probably, most of us get emails from career services, but do we really know what it is? So that we need to convey what career services is, what it does, and we need to market it better. If we do so, then we can create partnerships all around, whether that be in the mayor's office for urban students and political science students, or within more than just Parker Hennepin. We have a lot of engineering companies available, and as I said before, I work in the Center of Engineering Experiential Learning. There's a lot of opportunities